John, how's the mood in the camp after a massive win and a scintillating performance?
Yeah, pretty good. I mean, it's we've got a belief in the way we're playing. Our challenge is to keep that form up now. Is to keep on striving for what we know the process has that's brought that to bear on game day. So we go about our process during the week trying to aim for improvement every week, and we've been really pleased to have the consistency, and we're still aiming to be as consistent as we can.
In all your time here, have you ever had a midfield group as deep as this, as exciting as this, with as many layers to it, I guess?
Oh, I think people probably forget over the years. There's been some reasonable midfield groups with blokes like Adam Goods and Kieran Jack, Ryan O'Keefe, Josh Kennedy, those guys. But this is a different midfield. There's no question about that. And the good thing of the evolution of the team over the last few years is we've started to rely more on our younger group coming through, and those 23 and unders that have been shouldering a fair bit of the load in the midfield, really, apart from Isaac in age, they've really been consistent in their performances, and we've been pleased with how they're developing and coming along.
Chad Warner had probably one of his best games in a Swans strip on the weekend. I mean, we've known that he's had that explosive ability to burst out of stoppages, but have you seen that gone to another level a bit this year?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. He's always had it, and we see a lot of training, and his ability to be able to go from inside to outside and in a very fast amount of time has been a real credit to him, and he changes the way we play, and so that's been important. And he's been one of those guys in there that's contributed, and they've been a pretty even bunch, and hopefully they play strong two-way footy too, which we've been really pleased about.
We talk about the strong midfield depth, but really it's been the consistency around a set of bounces that's kind of really helped the team. Obviously you've got Brody there, but you've had Brody in there, you've had Isaac in there, and then Chad as well. Yeah,
that's right. I mean, Brody's been very important for us. He adds another dimension to our team. He gives a strong contest, and he's got a great experience, and he gets after the ground level, another big-bodied midfielder. And we come up against the Doggies this week, who've got an all-Australian ruckman and players like Bontempelli and Treloar, and Richards has been in there doing really well. So it'll be a big test this week against a pretty informed Bulldogs midfield.
So the way Chad plays, like, he really does take him on, not afraid to sort of try and push himself out of trouble. Is that something that he's just done naturally, or is that something you really told him to take him on and back himself?
From the moment he came to the footy club when we drafted him, he was always one that could go from stop to almost top pace in a pretty short amount of time. So we saw that pretty early, that he was able to do that, and you don't want to discourage that. You want to encourage it. So the more he does it, the more confident he's becoming in his ability to be able to do it. And it doesn't mean it's going to work every time, and sometimes you've got to wear the good with the bad. But when he's able to do it and he's able to bring other players into the game the way that he does, it certainly adds to our ability to be able to hit the scoreboard.
One of the I guess the knock-on effects of that, the success of the midfield, has been Luke Parker, who hasn't been able to get a game, and now he's facing the tribunal. I mean, what do you say to a bloke like that who's having a difficult season?
No, it's a tough thing to do, isn't it? Like, he got injured in the pre-season, didn't, as if he's done not a lot wrong, and missed 9 weeks out with a broken arm, and so just gets going again, and has been playing for the last couple of weeks, and obviously faces the tribunal tonight. So it's a tough little period for Luke, and unfortunately we'll have to wait and see what that means tonight.
Were you disappointed with the action, John?
I think if you look at it, he went to block, and he wasn't moving. He was actually stationary at the point of contact. He didn't go high. Unfortunately, it didn't work out the way that he probably intended it to do. I mean, he's not a player with any malice in him at all. He plays hard, tough football. He just went to block a player. It didn't work out well. He actually hit the back of his head. The damage was done on the back of Luke's head. So unfortunately, it ended the way it did, and we really feel for Josh and the Frankston players, because it impacted them as well.
The feeling is it was an act of frustration from Luke. That's the sentiment around it. What do you say to that?
I think that's a pretty long boat to draw. I just think if you look at it real closely, he just went to block a player and shepherd a player that was coming through his teammate and got it wrong, and his back of his head hit the Frankston player. It wasn't as if he jumped, it wasn't as if he was at speed. It didn't work out the way that he intended it to, clearly, and unfortunately a Frankston player got injured because of it, and which he feels badly about, but that's something just we'll have to wait and work through that process to see this evening.
Yeah, how is he, John? Is he frustrated? He's been in the stalwart of the side for 10 years now, and now he's playing VFL, and now he's not going to be playing for probably quite some weeks.
We want to be playing senior football, and I've been on the record at saying that. He's handled it so well. He's been terrific with our younger players, with our VFL program. Our VFL coaches comments on it daily about how good he's been, and he's been really invested in our young players. He's been a leader of this footy club for a long time, and as a leader, he's taken that role to the next level, and that needs to be acknowledged as well. It's not just about, he wants to play seniors. Clearly he wants to play senior footy, and he'll be disappointed if he gets suspended tonight for a period of time. But he can also help, and he takes great pride in doing that, and he's doing a very good job of that at the moment.
So how do you see him fitting back into the team when he gets the opportunity?
Oh, things work out. That's just the way it is. It's not something that I can predict sitting here right now, but...
is it like fast bowlers get injured, so there's always an opportunity?
I think that's the way football works, isn't it? Yeah, it's probably a good analogy. There's always things that turn out, that opportunities arise, either through form or injury or whatever it is. So the main thing is we'll get through this evening, find out what he's dealing with, and then deal with that. And we certainly, as I said before, wish the best for Josh as he gets over the injury.
How far away is Cal Mills?
He'll be a few weeks after the bye. So he's back. He did some running again yesterday. He'll train again tomorrow. But we want to make sure he does a really good block. We backed him off a bit when he hurt his calf a few weeks ago, and so now he needs to get some continuous training under his belt before we put him back in the team.
Will McCartan be back this week?
Tommy won't be back this week. I think the Thursday night counts against him a little bit. If it was a weekend game, he might have been a better chance. He trained today and got through fine, but because it's a Thursday night, I think that sort of counted against him in the end. And the doctors obviously are taking a conservative approach to it. He's been pulling up well. He's been running and training. But as far as the competitive training that he needs to go to that next step, he probably hasn't done enough of it just at this point.
So is his history coming into account a little bit with this?
I think the doctors are taking everything into consideration, and it's not one point of it, it's just they're taking everything into consideration. Probably the main point being is he done enough training, competitive training. We had a Friday night game obviously last week. He wasn't able to do a lot of competitive training last week, and then the players go into recovery mode, and then you're going into a Thursday game and he was not able to do a lot of that competitive training that's required to make sure that we're confident, he's very confident going into the game. That may have been the case if it was a Saturday game, but we're a bit short. So he's feeling fine. He should be right for after the bye.
So do you see him taking the same journey as Luke, coming back through the VFL to get some game time?
We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. We'll see how it's a bit early to make that call.
In terms of the rest of the team, obviously we saw Ruby Fox come off with a shoulder injury.
Yeah.
Can you give us an update on him, and probably that Matty Roberts comes back into this team this weekend?
Yeah, he was... Foxy we were a bit concerned about him after the game. We thought it might have been a pretty serious AC joint, but he's actually pulled up a lot better than what we thought. So he should be okay in a couple of weeks. We're hoping that after the bye he's not far away from playing, so he won't play this week. Matty Roberts has a chance to play. We obviously managed him last week, and I think that was good for a young player. So he's a chance this week.
Another guy who's kind of keeps pushing his case at VFL level is Angus Sheldrick. We obviously saw him really impressed when he got his chance at the back half of last year. Is there a thought of maybe giving him the sub role, getting him back into the team and around that senior environment?
Yeah, look, he's missed a bit of footy. He sort of had a concussion a few weeks ago and then missed again. So he's had a bit of stop-start type footy. He needs a bit of continuous football to get going, and so we don't think he's too far away, but he probably needs a bit more footy before we throw him in.
Errol said over the weekend that he's working towards playing 100% game time as a midfielder. Is that something that you're a fan of? Is that your idea? Are you pushing that?
No, it's not my idea. It's Cheryl's idea. So, no, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's not a big focus of ours, to be honest. Sometimes you've got to save the real competitors from themselves. And sometimes just sit down and have a rest, mate, and have a drink is not a bad bit of advice during the course of a game. But well, he's a massive competitor. He's a great runner, and he wants to be out there all the time. So it's pretty hard to restrain those guys who are keen to get out there and play footy.
We heard on the weekend there's been a good bit of progress made with Will Hayward's next contract. Hopefully that there's a good offer being put towards him. I mean, have you heard any more updates on how that's progressing?
Not at the moment. Obviously, we're going to another short week this week, so it's we've been focused on the Bulldogs, and we get on a plane tomorrow and fly to Melbourne. So that's been taking up all of our energies as the review from last week's game, but getting into the doggies. So there's nothing to update there.